some startups or small business owners, they don't know which finance available for them or which support available for them, especially in Australia. Some marginalized groups or marginalized small businesses, they don't know how to access this information, how to access those finance. So that leads them to not to get the appropriate finance on right time.
Here is something I've always found fascinating. Some of the world's biggest companies didn't fail because they had bad ideas. They failed because they ran out of money. Yet, at some time, we have seen businesses with fairly ordinary ideas become extraordinary companies simply because they understood the finance better than everyone else. So maybe entrepreneurship isn't just about having the next $1 billion idea. Maybe it's about understanding money before you need it. And that's exactly what we are exploring today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of School to Startup, brought to you by Tracxn, a private market intelligence platform that's been supporting the global university ecosystem for over 12 years. Through our university partnerships, we work with institutions driving innovation and entrepreneurship, and this series highlights the academic leaders making that happen. I'm Harish, your host today. Joining us is Dr. Nirosha, Associate Professor in the School of Accounting and Finance at Adelaide University. She is someone who has spent years researching startup finance, financial inclusion, SME growth, and how entrepreneurs can build stronger businesses through better financial system. Dr. Niro, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thanks, Harish. And, it's a pleasure to be here. And I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Great. So to start with, most people dream of building startups, right? So you chose to study them instead. So what pulled you into this world?
See, actually, so my journey to academia is shaped by unusual combination of technology, business, and finance. So I studied my first degree, IT, and then joined IT company as a software developer. And later on, I joined my family business. Then I realized in the business world, finance play major role. So then that curiosity leads me to pursue my studies in MBA, and eventually I did a PhD in finance. So then I joined to New Zealand University and continued teaching in finance, and then moved to Australia as a associate professor in finance. So that's my journey. And then later on, I did more research into finance, how small business gathering finance for the startups. So then I think I further moved to how finance and sustainability works in long-term sustainability of these startups.
Amazing. You have probably spent years working with research papers and data sets. So
Yeah.
be honest, do you still get excited opening a new data set, or has Excel taken all the fun away?
No, actually, every time when I open new data set, so I always excited because it's a new data. So this new data leads to new information for us. Those new information leads to new decision making. And long term, when you look at, it leads to new policy making. So every time when I open data set, it's new to me and I always excited.
Amazing. You also said about SME finance, right? So you have spent years studying SME finance. Do you think great businesses sometimes miss out on funding simply because founders struggle to communicate their businesses financially?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Especially when you look at the Australian businesses and Australian startup and small businesses owned by uh, uh, gender minorities or kind of marginalized groups and called communities. They don't have much the bigger network, and due to that they missed out some information. And the other thing is, some startups or small business owners, they don't know which finance available for them or which support available for them, especially in Australia. Some marginalized groups or marginalized small businesses, they don't know how to access this information, how to access those finance. So that leads them to not to get the appropriate finance on right time. So that's the main problem. Yeah.
Interesting. And a significant part of your work also focuses on financial inclusion. So we hear that phrase quite often. But
Yeah.
what does financial exclusion actually look like in the real world?
Yes. So, in actually, I'm talking about the research aspect first. So, when we are studying financial inclusion, so that means we focus how people or organization uh, received the right financing on right time. So, as an example, so in a small business, they can go for debt financing or equity financing, but they should get debt financing in correct time. Then they need to think about how they're expanding. They need to go for equity financing without diluting their ownership. So, in a financial inclusion, we mention people, individuals or businesses needs to get financing correct time and in correct type. So if anyone doesn't get this financing in correct time or correct type in their business growth stages, so that we call financial exclusion. So normally we think financial exclusion is just a loan rejections or those kind of things. Not only, we have to get the correct finance in the correct time and the correct type.
Very interesting. Zooming out a bit on the universities, our series is called School to Startup. So, do
Mhm.
you think universities today are doing enough to prepare students for entrepreneurship?
That's a great question, Harish. The universities should do. And when I take the new Adelaide University as an example, so in Adelaide University, we have a new teaching model. We have six common core subjects, regardless of students doing engineering, arts, business, they have to do these six. I think it's six common core subjects. Entrepreneurship is one of that. So in there, we give opportunity to students to link with industry collaborators and do their work. That helps them to eventually bring into the industry. So I think most of the universities now following that path. And again, when we get the university accreditations and other things, these kind of a industry engagement is important. So what I'm thinking, most of the universities now try to achieve that through their teaching models, or sometimes in our universities, as a graduate research coordinator, I can see most of the PhD students, we prefer to have them industry mentors And again, we provide some seed funding if they can provide some patent or any other industry related product, those kind of things. We're trying actually.
Interesting. And while universities are exceptionally doing well,
Mhm.
what's something students almost always have to learn the hard way once they step into the real world?
See, what students needs to learn, the basically this environment is so agile now. So therefore, students needs to learn new skills. So that's very important. And resilience is another thing. So in such very dynamically changing environment, students needs to like the previously when you get the degree certificates, when you qualified, you can learn. Then slowly you can go to industry, learn slowly, step by step. But nowadays we need to prepare job ready graduates. So students also need to come forward, and while they're doing their studies, they have to learn new skills and new entrepreneurship skills or new whatever they required for the future world. So that's important for students for their survival as well as university growth as well.
Interesting. And I keep getting most of the questions from these students because we also provide the data. What do you think? Which industries or opportunities do you believe today's students should be paying much more attention to?
Um, Look, I'm maybe a bit biased in this case. At school in here, I'm teaching business analytics course as well. So mainly, I think students has more opportunity in business analytics because previously people, CEOs make decisions based on their experience, very subjective. But these days, every decision is data driven, so students needs to learn these kind of a data driven skills. So business analytics is a good field student can explore more, and the other field student can explore entrepreneurship, and that's include all the within the entrepreneurship. You can see they have to master in leadership skills, they have to master in communication skills. So what I feel, a student can develop business analytics skills and entrepreneurship skills, they can go a long way.
Amazing. And this might sound like a personal question,
Mhm.
but what's one lesson you wish someone had told you when you were a university student?
See, when I was student, I can recall when I was a PhD student, always my supervisor uh, uh, teach me and mention me, you have to do real impactful work or research. So that's the best advice I ever received. Because when you think about the PhD graduates, most of the PhD graduates and our research students, they are theory based and they try to publish in a good journal or they try to print more books. That's good in one way. But what we need actually, we need some impactful research, and those impactful research needs to deliver some useful product or services to the society. So I think even when you study, you need to think in that way. Once I study this one, what is the benefit to me as well as what is the benefit to the society? And again, when you do this research, you have to think in that way. So social impact plays big role in these days.
Amazing. So before we wrap up, if every student and the aspiring, entrepreneur watching this episode remember just one thing from today's conversation, what do you want them to remember from this conversation?
So be resilient. This is a dynamic world. So be resilient, study or learn your business as well as some other facilities related to your business. So either it's finance, marketing, or leadership, you have to be mastering in that. So then you can be success in a long term. There is a no straight line for success. So always people who are success or who were success, they sometimes they step back or they learn and they come back to the industry or industry. So therefore, be resilient and keep up your good work.
Amazing. This is kind of a fascinating conversation I had in recent times. So today we explored how finance goes far beyond numbers. It's about creating opportunities, building resilient businesses, and making entrepreneurship more inclusive for everyone. Dr. Nero, thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights and being a part of School to Startup.
Thanks, Harish, and thanks for inviting me.
Great. And for everyone, if you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like this video, share your biggest takeaway in the comments, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our upcoming conversations with inspiring leaders from academia and the startup ecosystem. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of School to Startup.